Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Giver Marketing Masterclass. We're going to discuss the Giver Marketing Blueprint, LinkedIn, and maybe a few other tips to help you develop a marketing strategy that dramatically increases your lead generation, your conversations, and ultimately want to skyrocket those engagements so that you can generate more sales and revenue at the end of the day. Again, I'm Timothy Morgan, the founder of Giver Marketing, and welcome to the masterclass. We're going to go ahead and just jump right in here. And as we begin, just want to let you know that if you have any questions during the training, feel free to go ahead and message us through our private Facebook group. You'll see the note at the bottom of each slide, each image, to be able to contact us that way. Also, my email address is timothy@givermarketing.com. All right, Timothy Morgan, your founder, lead marketing coach. Glad to be able to answer any of those questions you have throughout the training and beyond. What are you looking at? You're looking at the Giver Marketing Blueprint, a proven strategy to generate more leads. What am I? I'm a coach. We started out as a traditional marketing agency, found quickly that our clients needed coaching in order to get their mindset, their strategy around why they were implementing and utilizing certain tools for their company. And so it's our privilege to draw out that potential of either a community leader, a business owner, or their entire team. So we're glad to do that. If you look us up on Google, just find us online, you'll see that we're the highest reviewed network of marketing coaches in the country. We're very well received because of our approach. We think about our clients first, their results. We're a pay-for-performance type company, and so we don't have contracts. We don't have paperwork in our business. We simply perform. We simply educate you on how to generate revenue and leads, more importantly, quickly, very quickly. So we're glad to be able to do that. What are others saying about us? Well, Adrian says Giver Marketing is unlike anything I've ever come across. While others are about what they can get, their approach is educate first. Rick and Becky says Giver Marketing nearly doubled my business with very little expense using social networking. We'll talk a little bit about that today. And you'll see dozens and dozens and dozens of other reviews just like that. The core principles for Giver Marketing is generosity, results, efficiency, attitude, and transparency. And it spells great on purpose. We wanted to be able to find a way to remember exactly kind of how we function, our philosophy behind everything that we do. Who benefits? This masterclass is for you if you're hungry to grow and you're coachable and you're passionate. We do find many companies that have one or two of these, but if you have all three, you're going to be successful because you're growing, you're learning, you're excited, you're passionate, there's fuel in the tank, you're ready to grow your business or organization. One of our favorite quotes is from Bob Berg. All things being equal, we do business with people we know, like, and trust. And I'm sure you've heard that quote before. If you haven't, that's one to memorize. It's in every one of our training. It's something that we live by. It's something that we really look toward connecting with our clients in a way that is very trustworthy, and we're finding that this to be a great underpinning for our company and our training. All right, the marketing blueprint. Let's dive in. What is the blueprint? Well, it's a lead generation strategy. Every business needs it. Branding, visibility, promotion, and nurturing are kind of the non-negotiables of business. And specifically for marketing, if you're not branded well, then really you can't correctly be visible. You don't have the right really to be visible until you have a brand worth putting out there. And then promotion. How do you advertise and ask for that call to action unless you're branded and visible correctly? And then ultimately when the leads come in, the conversations come in, how do you nurture those conversations and engage your potential clients and customers well? That's what we train on. Today you'll go through that. What is marketing? Marketing is not the same as sales, but what it is it's pre-sales strategy and communication aimed at your target market. So if at its core level, marketing is pre-sales communication and the strategy behind it, then by definition, it is not the same as sales. We'll talk about that more later. All right, the first piece, the first pillar, the first place to start, your brand. If your brand represents the sum total of experiences found in the marketplace that equate to how you've carved your reputation, according to Michelle Van Houten, then what does that mean to us? How do we develop that as a small company or organization or community leader? What does that mean? Does that mean that we have to be pour millions of dollars into some refresh of our brand? No, that means we make progress, not perfection. But that does mean that when it comes down to marketing, we understand that marketing itself is spreading the word, but branding determines how you are experienced as you do that. So as we have a starting point here, it's imperative that we look at the 3 C's of branding to make sure that we're going in the right direction. Are we being clear? Are we being creative? And are we being consistent with our what we want our audience to understand about us and experience about us? Clarity, creativity, and consistency can be a great place to kind of evaluate where you are as a brand. Now listen, if you're working for a large corporation, you still have a brand individually. If you're a sales representative for a small company, your brand affects the company's brand, the parent company's brand. And vice versa. The parent company affects your brand. So it works together. It's basically your reputation in collaboration with the team that you work with. But you want to dial in your brand. This is important because no matter where you work, what you're doing, you want your reputation to be impeccable and always growing in the right direction. All right, so what are some of the basics of how humans interact with other humans, how our prospects and customers and clients really begin trusting us? Well, it starts with some basic, the 5 senses that we all have. To one extent or another, we experience other humans in a majority of these ways all the time. So why not just look at them in comparison to how our company is experienced by the marketplace? For example, you're seeing something right now on your screen, you're hearing something, and when we meet in person, or you come to my office, or we meet at a location, you're going to experience all of my awesomeness all at one time with the 5 senses. One of the reasons that evaluating this can be so powerful is because many times there's an area or two where we can improve. Maybe we're not engaging our prospects visually. Maybe we're not creating ways for them to experience us in a more complete way. So we want to make sure that that's happening. A good example of this is Disneyland, man. They get involved with all your senses are engaged when you connect and visit Disneyland. Think of the 5 senses as memory enhancers. That's a great way to look at it. And by the way, when it comes to the 5 senses, sight and sound are most powerful because when you combine them, it increases the effectiveness by at least 5 times. Some are saying as much as 10 or 15 times as effective as just having the auditory or the picture experience alone. So the video, even like that you're watching right now, is more powerful than just having the audio alone. What's your story? A good question to ask yourself when it comes to your brand is what are you telling others? How are you expressing your superpower? 2 keys to a story, and this will tie into your homework if you're completing the homework assignments and becoming certified with our organization, is you want to be able to share a little bit of your background, some aha moments, and why and how you help others in need. What is your audience benefiting from you? Tell us a little bit of your background and the shift that took place where you said, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go help some people in this way. Well, every company has this kind of backstory that if it's lost, I would say it this way: if your story becomes kind of a backdrop and it's lost, then you're going to find yourself grasping for less effective ways to engage your audience. An example of this is our story at Giver Marketing. Is that for years and years I helped nonprofits and small businesses develop and grow, but found that marketing was kind of my sweet spot. I really enjoyed it. I had this kind of shift that took place in my own mind years and years ago, where I realized, you know what, I like all the aspects of business, but I love marketing, and I want to be able to showcase this to the world as I begin helping different organizations. And so now what I do is I coach and consult and train and function in marketing director roles for companies that would need a boost in modern marketing methods. And so because of our approach, we're just really well received, and the results are astronomical. They're out of this world. And so I love doing that. That's a part of my story. It's not every part of my story, but it's a piece of my story to be able to share with you. If you can share those kind of stories, either individually or as a company, you will be more attractive and more magnetic. And what's authority branding? There's a lot of words that fly around kind of this word branding, but really to keep it simple, becoming and being an authentic industry expert while associating with other credible influencers is where you want to be. So you want to connect with others who are killing it, doing it well, and really kicking butt, taking names, and moving and shaking. You always want to be learning from the masters, if you will, and associating with those who are doing great work. And that's one of the reasons we always have mentorship and coaching ourselves as an organization, and we associate with those who are really developing and have really specialized in what they do so that we can become great at what we do. Homework. Your branding homework is to post a 1-minute intro video in the Giver Marketing group page. And you can see the address there down below. It's givermarketing.com/group. Again, a 1-minute intro video, your story, to the group page so we can all get to know you a little bit, give you some feedback. And it's also just a great exercise to be able to share your story anyway. All right. Any questions about that, just throw them in the actual group page and we'll help you with that. Visibility, the second piece to our map, to our blueprint, is answering the question, can you be found? And that's where you want to start. Try finding yourself online. Type in your first name, your industry, and your city, but don't type in your full business name. Don't type in even your full name. Just type in some keywords in an incognito search so your computer doesn't remember what you searched last week, and see what comes up. As if you were moving to the area and you're looking for a product or service associated with your company, see if you could find yourself in that way. Just go totally organic on it and see what happens. It's eye-opening to be able to do that in a incognito or guest mode type search. All right, so when it comes to visibility, what are some of the basics? Well, let's look at it. Website is the real estate you own, and all the other platforms is the real estate others own that you want to be on. It really comes down to where you want to be, where you want to be found, and how often you want to be found. So visibility is the exercise of making it easy for others to find you, specifically your audience. So your website needs to have some search engine optimization built into it. But when you're on these other platforms, don't forget places like Google My Business. Make sure you're listed. Make sure that they have you registered on the largest search engine in the world. If you do, you'll have some real estate there on the right side of their search engine that is worth tens of thousands of dollars, if not more. So you want to start there. Make sure you have a physical address to register with them. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, other platforms, maybe even some industry-specific platforms. They all have their purpose, and I listed a few there on the screen if you want to take a look at that. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're on some of these frequented pages and platforms so that if somebody wants to connect with you, it's easy to do that. You'll find that much of your audience will frequent certain platforms much more often. For example, for us, we're a business-to-business coaching agency, so we want to be all over LinkedIn. We don't want to miss out on the millions and hundreds of millions of business owners that are on LinkedIn and growing every day. So you'll find, if you search for us, either a company name, my name, you'll find us on LinkedIn. So there's different platforms for different industries that are very important to be on, okay? If you want a free directory scan to see where you are online and what platforms that you're listed on, and if they're correct, they're matching up with, and they're consistent, and it's all making sense. Look, if 89% of people go online before making a buying decision, you better look sharp online. I mean, we use the analogy, if you wouldn't go to a business meeting in your pajamas, so why continue to look unprofessional online when you can make some progress in that area? Take it to another level. So we want to help you do that by starting with those directories that literally millions and millions and millions of people will come across over time, okay? The way you do that is you go to givermarketing.com/visibility. You'll see this little really form to be able to put in your business name, address, and phone number, and you should be able to get a good idea of where you're listed. And your goal is to try to have a 0 error rate so that everything is consistent across the board. It looks sharp, and you're essentially dressed for success online when it comes to some of the basic search engines and different platforms that you want to be listed on correctly, okay? All right, what's another part of visibility to consider? Well, it's reputation. So when you get these reviews online, your visibility not only goes up because of how the search engines work, but your reputation goes up once they find you. So there's really a couple pieces to visibility, is being found, and then once they find you, what are they experiencing, especially online. Now there's other areas, other ways to be visible as well, just your physical location. We'll talk about that in a minute, but so many people are going online before even visiting your physical location that's what you want to lead with now, okay? So Google reviews are a good place to start. There's other places to obviously get reviews as well, but if 84% of people trust multiple online reviews as much as a friend's recommendation, then it reasons to a good reasoning would say, hey, let's make sure and at least get some great reviews on a few platforms. Start with Google. Go to givermarketing.com/gbox, and that'll get you started. It's a third party we point to be able to help you get some Google reviews very quickly, very easily, by generating a link that it's a one-click, and it'll pop up for your customers and associates and friends to be able to review you online. And Google's not too picky with who does the reviews, so it's a good place to start. There's a lot less friction there. They're not going to hijack your reviews and ask you to pay for money or something like that. So that's a good place to start. All right. So yeah, go to the givermarketing.com/gbox, and you'll see a fun little tool there that'll help you. What about the buildings and the vehicle, basically offline visibility? Yeah, let's make sure that people, when they come to your office or find the location that you're meeting at, that they can definitely find it easily. It's listed on maps correctly. The address is correct. The signage is correct. Even the signage on your vehicle is simple and sweet and easy to understand. It's not too busy. And the banners outside of your building are clean and clear. We work with a lot of churches and organizations that really rely on referrals and goodwill in the community. Well, listen, in today's day, if you have 10 people give a referral to your organization, your company, and they can't find you online and it's hard to find your location, how many of those folks are actually getting more frustrated than anything trying to find you? Let's make it easy, okay? That's the goal here. Online and offline visibility, make it easy for them to find you. All right, your homework is to go ahead and go to the givermarketing.com/visibility visibility scan that we provide for you, and then post the results at our group page that you see below. Any questions about that, feel free to reach out. All right, third piece, promotion. We call this the ICE guideline to promote, and to promote your specials, your company, your services, your offerings. The first thing you want to do is inform, then give a call to action, and then don't forget the almighty engage your audience in dialogue, okay? So informing is really creating awareness. Think about mass or traditional types of marketing. I just sat with someone from iHeartRadio here recently, and also Salem Radio as well. And we talked about basically all the mediums and how we can create awareness very quickly for very little cost if you do it well. And it's a good place to start. You're not going to see a high conversion rate with some of these platforms, but man, you're going to see a great awareness or an informing to your audience that you exist. And that's a great place to start. But then you also have give a clear call to action to make sure that when they do listen, they can A, remember your name, and B, know what to do next if they want to get a hold of you, and make it super easy to do that. So we want that call to action in almost everything we do, and we want to be able to engage in a dialogue. That call to action should be some kind of ability for them to reach you, communicate with you, an email, a phone call, a text message, a social media message, meet at our office at this location at this time, some kind of call to action where you can engage in a deeper conversation. Okay, you're looking for conversations, and once that happens, you want to be able to ask good questions in order to make sure that that conversation continues. We're going to talk about LinkedIn here in a minute, and when it comes to conversations, we find that to be extremely helpful on these social media platforms because it makes it easy to have conversations. That's why a lot of businesses starting from social media in today's world. All right, what about the report method? What's the report method? It's just an acrostic, another one to help us think about places and ways for us to promote effectively. And one of the best ways to promote is through referrals. And so many of us look at events, print and online and radio, podcast type platforms, television, to make sure that we get our message out there. But listen, don't gamble, measure results, start with the goal in mind, and then work backwards. Did we say track everything? Yes, track everything. Make sure and track what you're doing, okay? Speaking of referrals, and we'll go through some of this acrostic here quickly, make sure that you have a system of generating referrals. I just sat down with someone yesterday and walked through how we generated hundreds of referrals through our LinkedIn strategy, and that's just the B2B space. We have associates who are utilizing Facebook the same way, generating tons of referrals, just hundreds and hundreds of referrals. When back in the day, you'd have to have somebody, do an email introduction or physically try to meet somebody and kind of introduce them. Well, in today's day and age, you can have hundreds and hundreds of referrals by generating a system that encourages that, that allows for that, and then it's also trackable to see how many those coming in to your services or offerings are based on those referrals. You can kind of track that. And so we encourage that you track everything when it comes to marketing in your company. Otherwise, you're just wondering whether it's even working or not. Events. Offer high value, get contact information, follow up quickly. If you go to an event, if you're a keynote speaker at an event, if you have a booth at an event, if you just attend an event, all this still applies. So offer high value, make sure and connect with the top 10% of that room that you think is a good place to start. It's a piece of the room that you really find to be your kind of your target audience, your natural audience, and make sure that help is your intention of going to that event. Grab that information. What about print? Is print dead? No, it's not. It just depends on how you use it. I don't think print is ever going to be dead. I think you have times where somebody wants to physically touch, a marketing piece, or wants to connect with you in a way where they have something in print. It's easy to show and must be extremely targeted and simple. But if you look at even like Chick-fil-A's Cow Appreciation Day, where they have you either wear like a t-shirt that's printed, or print out something that they offer you in order to, if you dress like a cow, then they'll give you a free sandwich. Gosh, this kind of stuff works. They started doing this on billboards. So talk about print. I mean, they've leveraged the online platforms too to kind of continue this campaign. But when it first started, it was really just a very organic and authentic way to get some people involved with a special day. They've seen a 25% increase in foot traffic on these days when they do this. So does it work? Yes. How you do it, is that the key? Yes. Obviously online we could spend hours just talking about this, but look at these social media posts and the messages as a great way to connect with your audience. Email campaigns are good. They're a good way to remind people that you're around, and it's a good way to communicate with you. But don't send so many emails in a short period of time without permission that it creates a spam scenario. Okay, you want to definitely get permission, and you want to spread out the messages in a way that's appropriate for your audience. What about digital ads? Well, digital ads are becoming more and more popular, and so they're becoming more and more expensive. But if you find a sweet spot and you fine tune it, it's just like any other advertisement. If it works, then ride that horse. I mean, just keep going, use it. And if it pencils out, it pencils out. I mean, you're getting your name out there, you're getting a call to action, you're getting a response, leads are coming in, keep using it. And on the other end too, if there's other traditional forms of advertising that's just not working anymore, then pull it back and start putting your advertisement dollars into something else that might work better. Track those results. Radio and podcasting is becoming very popular. Don't overcomplicate it. Just get started if you want to do this. If you're someone that wants to be kind of an expert or authority in your space, this is a great place to start. That's one of the reasons we do these trainings. Television. If you get on television, tell your story. Include your call to action. Get that video file and share on other platforms. Put it on social media once you're done. Make it happen. If you can get an interview of some kind on either a radio or television program, do it. Get that so you can repurpose it. Those are great credibility pieces for you. And again, remember to tell your story wherever you go. Promotion. The homework for promotion is very simple. Post an ad or a promotional piece of some kind to the group page. This could be an ad that you've created for yourself. This could be a promotional piece for one of your clients. It could be something you're offering, something that a friend of yours, an associate of yours is offering. We want to know that you're involved with some creative promotional piece that we can give you feedback on. Preferably it's from you, but if it can't be from you, then at least somebody you're associated with, and we'd love to give you feedback. Again, this may not be a direct reflection of your genius, but we want to at least have something to give you some feedback on, okay? Try your best. Nurturing. All right, so this is a piece of our training that was really asked by us from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients and associates and team members, because once you generate those leads, how do you engage them properly in today's modern world of kind of on-demand communication? This is becoming more and more of a difficulty, but also more and more of an opportunity at the same time, depending on how you look at it. Our blueprint at first consisted of just branding, visibility, and promotion. And now we've added this kind of special module to help you engage those conversations, those leads more effectively. Now with that, you want to understand, we're not talking about sales here. We're not talking about closing a deal here, okay? We're still in the marketing process. Quite frankly, even the term prospecting is technically marketing. It's not sales until you get down to a conversation about exchange of value, which product or service would you like to, when would you like to get started, kind of asking for the transaction is the art and science of sales. We don't train on the sales piece. We get you 80% of the way, which allows for the sales team to be successful. If you're in sales, the best thing you can do is talk to as many people as possible that have already been warmed up through the marketing process, because the trust level's higher. If you're cold calling, you're in the marketing business. You're not in the sales. Really, sales is very difficult if you're talking to somebody cold in today's world. Okay, marketing warms up and builds the trust so that your sales can be more effective. All right. Marketing gets you to the red zone, sales get you to the end zone. Another way to look at it is marketing equals leads, sales equals revenue. So you definitely want to understand that that larger funnel drops right into the sales process there, okay? All right, again, marketing is pre-sales strategy and communication. That starts with branding, then moves to visibility, then promotion, then finally we get a chance to nurture our leads, which is what we're talking about today. Here are 7 moments that we use as a nurturing or follow-up system for prospecting, okay? And the reason we do this is because of some of the statistics that are out there. We know this to be true, but according to the RAIN Group, 80% of sales appointments occur after 5 trust-building interactions. I would say it's a minimum of 5 to kind of get those numbers, okay? So again, we're still in the marketing mindset here. When you have an introduction, when you have a lead come in, when you have an initial conversation, don't sell anything. Tell a story, get contact information. You can tell your story. You can tell a story how you've helped a client in the past. You can tell a story of really something that's interesting that might be of interest to the listener. You try to find ways to engage a visual and emotional connection with the person that you're being introduced to, okay? Brief email. Hey, after you have that conversation or even shortly before it, if you want, you can send a brief email talking about how you'd like to learn more and ask some questions. If you've already connected with them, let them know it was great connecting with you. We're not talking about spam email or even like a template-based email necessarily. We're talking about something that's very authentic, very short. It can be structured in a way that's very similar language, but you definitely want to try to put some nuances in these individual emails that would help you connect ongoing with this prospect. Plus, they have your email address to send you back a note if they have any questions. Social media, friend requests, connection requests, making and sharing content. Reply to the messages that people put out there. Look, engage with your audience. That's what nurturing is. It's engaging with with the leads that are coming in, with your audience. Everybody who likes, comments, and shares your content on social media is technically someone who's interested in what you're doing. So they're a warmer lead. They may not be a hot prospect yet, but they're definitely somebody who's paying attention to what you're doing. So you can consider that a very basic level lead, even as they engage your social media platforms. Okay. Once you have the ability to do this, give something of value. Give them a little physical gift. Give them a recommendation or a referral. Give them some information or other resources. Let them know that you're a giver. I mean, if you want to look at some statistics on this, some of the highest performing companies and individuals are people who give value first and then ask later. Okay, so you want to lead with giving value. That's one of the reasons we're making this available to you. So we want to give you something of value to increase your productivity and results. Invite people somewhere, to an affinity group, a special event, a business meeting. Now listen, this can be offline, kind of the traditional way of inviting people places, or this can be online. Invite someone to a webinar, invite someone to a training you're doing, invite someone to a video chat with some other associates, invite somebody to your connect with your mentor in one way, shape, or form. Invite somebody to where you're going to be. That's the best way to think about it. If you're already going to be somewhere, what does it hurt to invite somebody to your? I invite people to some of these high-level business groups all the time. They may not even be ready to join the group. That's not the point. The point is they see you in an environment of awesomeness where you're well accepted and received, and there's credibility that's built there already, and people start talking you up, and they start adding value to the to your prospect and business and their life. Look, if you can pour into somebody, invite them somewhere that will benefit them in some way, either socially or financially, this can be powerful. Invite them to a ball game. Invite them to anywhere you're going to be already that's appropriate. Personal notes. We're going to talk about this in just a minute, but that snail mail around holidays and birthdays, that is something that you want to definitely keep in mind. Even if you have to use a service that'll help you do that. One of the easy ways to get started on this is to send out birthday cards like a couple days at the beginning of a month. Basically, at the end of a month, start mailing out the last day of the month. Start mailing out birthday month cards instead of just birthday cards. Okay, you can do it in a lot of different ways, but the very last day of the month would be a good way to send out a stack of birthday cards to let people know that you're thinking about it. Okay? Happy birthday month. Make it fun. Make it interesting. Make it something different. That's one idea. Also, early holiday cards, like literally right after Halloween, first day of November, just start sending out holiday cards saying happy holidays. I mean, we're getting into the holiday season. At that point, you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, you got New Year's. Like happy holidays in November is perfect time to do that, early in November. All right, text messages, social media messages. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But any way that you can send a personal note to folks. I just sent out some birthday text messages recently because I saw that they had a birthday on social media. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to use the platform that you were reminded about it. Make it personal though. Don't just post it like everybody else. Be different. All right, the almighty phone call. Prepare great questions. Give 3 options for next steps, and a short voice message if they don't answer, if any. Like don't leave a long voicemail if they don't answer. But once they do answer, have a plan. I mean, give them some great questions and then some next steps. Make it. If you're just meeting somebody for the first time or want to grab a quick phone call with them, don't make it an hour-long phone call. I mean, keep it short. Get to the point. Spend some great time with them on a basic level. Maybe your next step is to set up an hour-long meeting because you're hitting it off and things are going well. Maybe the customer or potential client needs some more in-depth information. That's obviously a good next step. Have them come to your office, or you meet them at your office, their office, but have those dates and details ready. Okay. Nurturing homework. Post your nurturing touch points to the group page below. We just talked about 7 common touch points. This is basically our system that we use within our company. It works well. It connects with thousands and thousands and thousands of people, especially over time. It develops this rapport, this trust. So we recommend posting at least 2 or 3 or 4 of these, if not your whole process, on our group page for feedback. We're glad to be able to give you some feedback on that. All right, sales defined. Here's the definition of sales: asking for a transaction. It's the art and science of asking for an exchange of value, asking for a transaction of some kind, okay? That's salesmanship. That's being a salesperson, all right? So we want to encourage you that an effective sales process or sales funnel includes some kind of good, better, best value ladder, some kind of options for those that you're engaging. And again, as a reminder, marketing is the larger funnel at the top. Sales is the small funnel that generates the revenue, but they work together but are not the same. All right, real quick. If you're going to market something effectively, you need to know what you're offering. So, and plus, if you're going to close a sale, you need to have some really simple options for those who are interested in your product or service. So start here. Try an entry-level product, which we'll call this the good, better, best scenario. There's so many different ways to consider this. You know, the starter, medium, and premium type approach is really time-tested and very powerful. So start with an entry-level product that you offer everyone. They need to know that this is available, okay? And then as you have conversations, let them know, look, there's a mid-level package here that a lot of our customers and clients are finding extremely valuable for them. Let them know that that's available, and that's kind of an option for them either now or in the future. And then, of course, you want to have a best option where it's like, look, we bring everything, and the results are amazing, and the product is extraordinary. It's a premium product. It's a platinum level product or service, and we want to make sure and make that have that available for you, so that when the time comes, we can dive into the deep end here and make sure and get you as much of the results as you can with the time that we have available and the services that we have available. And here's the caution: move at the speed of trust, as Stephen Covey would say. Don't try to sell too quickly, okay? You must ask for the sale, but only after trust is built and a good fit is established. Ask for that sale, but make sure that your trust is at a place to where you have the right to ask for the sale. And we find that if you evaluate your brand, your visibility, your promotion, and your nurturing process, you'll know when it's time to ask for that sale. As a sales professional, if you're working closely with the marketing team, then you'll see a higher conversion rate. You'll see a higher transactional volume. You'll hit your quotas and your goals more effectively if you work closely. Look, if you're the marketing and sales department, if you're doing your own prospecting, then make sure that you understand the difference between, we have to understand the difference between are we in a marketing conversation here where we're just building the trust level and kind of getting familiar, or are we in a sales process here where we're actually trying to pick which option is best and go ahead and move forward? That's the question you want to ask yourself. Okay. So at this point, we're going to transition into something that is geared toward the business-to-business lead generation systems that we use. If that is not you, then this part of the training is probably where you'd want to stop. But if you want to learn a little bit of the basics of how to message on social media platforms in general, you might find it interesting even if you're in the B2C space, but this is geared for the business to business professionals, okay? If you're selling to other businesses in any way, shape, or form, or if that would be a great target market for you, then hang on, because we're going to show you some pretty amazing lead generation strategies that are very simple. They don't cost they cost very little, if anything, and we're glad to be able to help you with that. All you need is a LinkedIn account in order to do this, okay? We're talking about lead generation here, very, very specific platform, because we've seen hundreds and hundreds of leads come through this platform, and our clients are raving about the results they're getting. We want to encourage you that if you have a LinkedIn account, all you need to do is add an online scheduler, and you can see dozens and dozens of leads come in as quickly as you want, okay? We recommend Calendly. It's a great it's a great tool to basically save you time and reduce frustration and friction in setting up appointments. So instead of going back and forth, trying to set up an appointment and then accidentally double booking, this will help you prevent that double booking for the most part, okay? Our hint here is when you set up an online scheduler like Calendly.com, there are other ones out there too, and just at the time of this recording, at the time of this training, we just happen to be using this platform, and it works really well. But no matter which one you use, make sure and give yourself a buffer time in between appointments, so that as these leads come in, because they will with this strategy, you'll have a kind of a breathing room or a margin there between appointments. Okay, we recommend setting up 10-minute appointments with 10 minutes on each side, so you have a little wiggle room there. Okay, and you might be asking yourself, hey, what 10 minutes isn't that long? Well, it's long enough to get to know somebody and set up an in-person meeting or a Zoom chat or a longer experience, okay? So that's the goal of these discovery calls or pre-qualification phone calls. 5 major pieces to your LinkedIn profile. I'm gonna let you just take a screenshot of that just for sake of time, because I want, we could spend an hour just on this, but when it comes to your images and your headline and the summary, the media, and the experiences you have, you want to make sure that's reflective of your brand, okay? This is kind of the branding piece of LinkedIn right here, all right? Try to sync up your LinkedIn account with suggested contacts through your email by clicking on My Network and More Options in the kind of the middle left section there of LinkedIn. At the time of this training, that's where it's located. Okay, things change all the time. But at the end of the day, you want to sync up your email contacts with LinkedIn. They'll send you out a connection request to all your people. It'll take you from basically just having a few connections to hundreds and hundreds of connections, okay? If not more. All right, so why is LinkedIn special and how should I use it? Well, first thing that LinkedIn has is a more protected environment where you can search for specific people you want to connect with using their filter system. So what you do is you click on search in the upper left corner, click on people, and then you begin using their filter page so that you can connect with the people that you really want to. This makes it, for example, geographically, you can type in a city and only the people that are in your city will show up if you do use this search capabilities on this platform, okay? And so you'll get a list of people, you'll be able to message them. Generally, we send a message to our first degree connections that say something like, hey, it's been a while since we connected. Are you open to a quick call in the next couple of weeks? You'll see a 10, 20, 30% response to this kind of message in a positive, some kind of positive response. So you're now engaged in a dialogue because you end with a question. Either they A, don't see the message, B, are extremely rude and don't respond to it, or C, there's somebody who actually cares to connect with you, and so they go ahead and send a message. Let me give you an example. If you have like 1,000 first degree connections, okay, maybe say that's your goal or that's where you are, but it's just an easy number, and you have 200 or 300, even just 100. If you just had 100 people engage in a conversation with you, how much is that worth? I mean, that's taking someone that's on a list of connections and taking it to a level of dialogue. Just that exercise alone, connecting with your first degree, is probably worth, depending on your price point of your product or service, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And this only takes a little bit of time. We'll talk about that in a minute. Once you send messages, you'll see your inbox starting to fill up, and there'll be messages like you see here that pop over to your inbox, a lot like an email inbox, and you want to be able to track those conversations over there. It's very easy to do on LinkedIn using your messaging inbox, okay? I don't want to spend too much time on that because that's something you just kind of have to experiment with. I like to use the unread option there on the inbox so that you're not inundated with old conversations. All right, if they ask why, once you send a message, just send them a reason why you'd want to connect. It's some kind of mutual benefit. Want to learn more about what they're up to, get updated, get up to speed, maybe find ways to help them, possibly look at referral partnerships, some kind of mutual benefit message here. Keep it really short on all these messages, otherwise you're going to lose your conversations. People are going to get overwhelmed. We don't really believe in long copy for social media messages at this point in time. We're not seeing that working well. There's some exceptions to that, but 99% of the time you want to send short copy, like short sentences of reasons why you'd want to connect, and the goal is to try to get a phone call going so you can get into a deeper conversation. But you don't want to shoot out a bunch of video links or email addresses or, hey, watch this and then we can talk. None of that. So basically what we're talking about here is permission marketing. It's a powerful approach that was kind of coined by a famous marketing professional, Seth Godin. And if you want to pick up one of his best-selling books from years ago, take a look at permission marketing, because that's the approach, that's the philosophy we're using here, okay? All right. Once they agree to a call, how do you set that appointment? I mean, that's our goal here, right? It's get on these 10, 15-minute phone calls, these short discovery calls. Send a message, something like this. Sounds great. Again, this is after they've said yes or sure or sounds good. And then you can just reply and say, sounds great. So we don't play phone tag. Here are some days that would work best. Give them your calendar link and then pick a time. Let them know that if they pick a time, you'll call them. People will respond to this message if you keep it conversational and short. Okay? If you make it too long about exactly what you're going to go into and give them a novel to read before the meeting, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could do that if you want to screen just about everybody out. But if you want as many conversations as possible with the target market, then keep it simple, keep it short. You can always reschedule appointments. You can always maybe take the conversation a different direction or something if you really need to. But for the most part, it's good just to get on that quick phone call, right? All right, so only send appointment link once they've agreed to chat on the phone in some way. So they need to literally message you back. Sure, sounds great. All right, I look forward to our phone call. There's some kind of affirmative, like, yes, let's do it. Then you can send them that link that we just showed you, okay? All right, let's talk about person of influence strategy as we wrap up here today. Person of influence or referral strategy is super powerful because it takes the old school referral strategy of, hey, let's do an email introduction, or I'll give both of you guys each other's phone number. You can try to connect. It kind of bypasses all that, and it goes right into this social media introduction kind of a thing. So it's a referral strategy, technically, if you think it through completely. So we're also targeting a second layer or a second degree of connections that we don't currently have. So there's literally a handful of positives here that happen just by generating these connections. First of all, you're connecting with folks and trying to welcome them into your first degree connections by sending out a note. So what you do is you click on the second degree connections that are maybe in the Rolodex or are already connected with one of your people of influence, and you send them a note saying, hey, I'd like to connect. So you're basically going outside of your first degree and moving into the second degree. See over here on the left, the second degree connections. Maybe they're people that are already connected with one of your influencers in your network. And you literally just ask them for permission to connect with their people, and it's on. Okay. Now the only exception to this is some people do block the ability for you to connect with their people. All right, adding a note to your initial connection request does not require InMail, so make it count. This is your one time when you go to connect with a second degree connection. You have one free message basically to where you won't be blocked by LinkedIn. It won't cost you anything. It's free. It's a good conversation starter. Make it count. So the way you do that is once you get these lists of connections coming in from somebody else's Rolodex, basically, they're people. You want to go ahead and add this note, but make sure it's good. And the way you do it is use similar language to what we talked about before, but you add the influencer's name. So let's just use a random name, John Smith. It gives you permission to connect with his people. You go ahead and show him the message you're going to be sending his people. He says, sure, sounds good. And then you go ahead and put, John Smith connected us. Would you have a few minutes to chat on the phone in the next couple weeks? Now, who's going to ignore that message if they see it? You've dropped somebody's name that they either are associated with, connected with, or have heard of. And if they see that name, they're going to be a lot more likely to connect with you and accept, if nothing else, accept the connection request. And we're off to the races. So once the request is accepted, that's great. But sometimes they won't respond to the message. They're busy. They just didn't see it, or maybe they just pushed accept, but didn't reply to everybody. Then you want to just circle back once they've accepted the request and send them a note saying, thanks for connecting. Should we grab that quick call soon? It's just a reminder. It's just another way to say the same thing. Okay. And then plus they'll see the previous message. So it'll all make sense to them. If you don't have influencer permission, try this. Hey, I recently spoke with so-and-so, John Smith. Notice we are both connected. Are you open to a quick call in the next couple of weeks? This will not get you the same type of response. You'll probably get about half the response. But if you just haven't gotten permission yet from anybody to do this, or if you don't know too many influencers, then this is a fine way to go ahead and get started, okay? By the way, you only need one or two people to say yes to the ability to connect with their, basically their circle of influence, and you're off to the races. You don't want to have too many messages going out with too many different names. So just start with one person of influence, get permission, and then move on. All right, LinkedIn paid options. Our system does not require paid ads. However, when connecting on LinkedIn, they may limit high volume activity unless you get a LinkedIn Premium or Sales Navigator account. This is not necessary, but it can be helpful once you start seeing results. So wherever LinkedIn Premium or paid services, Sales Navigator is a popular one, you may want to consider that. And at the time of this session, the cost is less than $80 a month. And there's free trials as well. All right, so if you do get Sales Navigator, there's some fun ways to be able to search more, save more lists of people you want to connect with. It's just a lot more of those kind of filter options, and you can search more specifically and really generate more conversations more quickly. Okay, so if it's working, Sales Navigator may be worth considering. But at the end of the day, you want to have a frequency that is manageable and it produces results instead of driving all over town to some of these meetings that maybe not producing as much results as you want. Try spending 30 minutes on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, sending out maybe 100 messages a week, and you'll get 4, 5, 6, 7 appointments based on what we're seeing across the board, just in a few minutes on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay, so you'll get several appointments on a monthly basis by doing that. All right. Well, good. If you have any questions, email me, timothy@givermarketing.com. I'll try to get back to you, or have one of our associates get back to you if you'd like to learn more, and we're glad to be able to help you do that. That's the LinkedIn Masterclass. Our Masterclass group is online at givermarketing.com/group, and we should be able to answer as many questions as you have there as well. God bless you. Have a great week, and I hope that was valuable to you. And I look forward to continuing to help you generate leads, conversations, and ultimately increase your results in your business. God bless you. Have a great week.